Dear children, welcome to Standard 8 General Science. This is a module explaining you about the reflection of light, that is your chapter number 16. So kids, this chapter aims at teaching you about reflection of light, laws of reflection, regular reflection, irregular reflection, reflection of a reflected light, about kaleidoscope as well as periscope. Shall we move to the chapter? Children, look around you. We see many wonderful things around us. See a bird flying, we see a rain falling, and then we see so many natural phenomena that gives us so much happiness and peace to the mind. We enjoy each and every moment witnessing nature at its own beauty, isn't it? Try a small activity. Switch off the light in your room at night for some time and then turn it on again. Could you see the objects in the room clearly when the light was switched off? What did you feel when it was turned on again? Actually, you could not have seen anything around you. It was a complete darkness. But when you switch on the light again, you see everything around you, isn't it? Children, when you switch off the light at night, the objects in the room cannot be seen. They can be seen as before only when the light is switched on. We can see objects when the light coming from these objects enters our eyes. So the light entering our eyes may be emitted by the object or may be reflected by the object. Emitted by the object that you can see in sun, stars, etc. And reflected by the object is by all the objects that do not have their own light, reflect the light. Sense of vision, that is seeing things around us. Vision occurs when light is processed by the eye and interpreted, that is understood by the brain. The sense of vision is the most important among 5 senses. Do you agree with me? We perceive up to 80% of all impressions by means of our sight. And even if our other senses such as taste or smell stop working, it's the eyes that best protect us from danger. Yes, children? Reflection of light. When light rays fall on an object, their direction changes and they turn back. This is called reflection of light. So our vision is due to this reflected light in the cases if the object is not having its own light. To understand reflection, let us perform an activity. So the materials required for this activity are torchlight, mirror, a stand for hanging the paper, a black paper, comb, white paper, drawing board, etc. The procedure is fit a white paper tightly over a table or a drawing board. Leave out some portion in the middle of the comb, cover the rest with black paper so that the light can pass only through the open central portion. So hold the comb perpendicular to the white paper and throw torchlight on its central portion. Adjust the comb and torch so as to get light rays on the white paper. So now keep a mirror in the path of the ray of light. What do you observe? As you can see in the picture, the mirror reflects the light back. Can you see it, children? This is reflected light. So this way we can observe reflection in many cases. The light rays which fall on the mirror gets reflected and travel in a different direction. So the rays falling on any surface are called as incident rays. So this is a surface and the rays falling on it are called as incident rays. The point at which the incident ray falls is called point of incidence. So this is the point of incidence. The rays going away from the surface after reflection are called as reflected rays. The direction of the reflected ray is decided by the laws of reflection. Before learning laws of reflection, let us understand some terminologies regarding that. So let us do an activity for that. Draw a line PQ showing the position of a mirror. Draw the incident ray AO and the reflected ray OB. Now draw a perpendicular line to this line showing the position of the mirror, that is PQ at O. So draw a line perpendicular to the mirror position. This line ON is called as normal to the mirror. So as ON is perpendicular, we know that angle PON equal to angle QON, both will be equal to 90 degrees. The ray AO is the incident ray. The point O is the point of incidence. Ray OB is the reflected ray. Line O and this line is the normal. The angle AON, that is the angle between the incident ray and the normal, is the angle of incidence I. The angle BON between the normal and the reflected ray is the angle of reflection R. Now we will learn laws of reflection. What are these laws of reflection? The angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. So this is angle of incidence and this is angle of reflection. The angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. Second law is the incident ray and the reflected ray and the normal lie in the same plane. So the incident ray, reflected ray and the normal, all three lie in the same plane. This is second law. Third law is that incident ray and the reflected ray are on the opposite sides of the normal. You can see it very well. The incident ray and the reflected ray are on the opposite sides of the normal. So these three are called as laws of reflection. Every light ray, that is every reflected ray, follows these three laws. Children, if we take about reflection, it is of two types. One is regular, the other is irregular. Let us learn about regular reflection first. The reflection of light from a plane and smooth surface is called as regular reflection. For regular reflection, the angles of incidence and reflection are same for all parallel rays falling on the surface. I'll tell you what it is. So this is an example of regular reflection. If you see, all the three incident rays are parallel to one another. So the angle of incidence for all the three is going to be same. And same way, if you see the reflected rays, these are also parallel to each other. So obviously the angles of reflection will also be same for all the three rays. Thus the reflected rays are also parallel to one another. If the angle of incidence for incident rays are I1, let us consider this as I1, I2, I3, and their respective reflected rays are, that is angles of reflection, are R1, R2 and R3. Then I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I3, which is equal to R1, R2, R3, etc. This type of reflection happens only with a smooth plane surface. Children, you can now easily guess what is going to be an irregular reflection. The reflection of light from a rough surface is called as irregular reflection of light. Take for example, this surface is not smooth at all. You can see it is very rough. So reflection happening in these kind of surfaces are called as irregular reflection. If you see irregular reflection, the angles of incident for the parallel rays of incidence, if you can see, all the angle of incidence are parallel. Can you see this? All the incident rays are parallel to each other. But if you see the angles of incidence, if you see the point, everybody is getting reflected at a different direction. From this we can understand all these angles of incidence are not going to be same, so as the angles of reflections are also not going to be same. So that is I1 is not equal to I2, which is not equal to I3. So as R1, R2, R3, they are not going to be same for irregular reflection. So thus the reflected rays, you can see they are not parallel to one another and they spread to a large surface. So this is the case of irregular reflection. Children, you have to remember certain things. The laws of reflection are to be followed both in regular and irregular reflection. The reflection of light in irregular reflection has not been obtained because the laws of reflection are not followed, but they are obtained because the surface is irregular, that is, the surface is rough. In irregular reflection, the angles of incidence at different points are different. But at any given one point, the angle of incidence and the reflection are equal. If you observe every single point, every single reflection follows the laws of reflection. This you have to remember. Okay children, have you seen reflection of reflected light? What is this reflection of reflected light? How is it possible? Think of these things. How do you see if the barber in a salon has cut the hair on your neck properly or not? Can you see the picture and understand? Yes, he shows a mirror behind you and asks you to check. What type of image do we see in a mirror? What happens to the left and right side? Is your left and right are same in the mirror image? How do we see the image of moon in the water? Now you understand? Yes, we do see those because of the reflection of reflected light. So children, come, let us make something. Take 3 rectangular mirrors of the same size. If the rectangular mirrors are of length more than 10 centimeter, it will be good. Using sticking tape, stick the mirrors together so that you make a triangle. As you can see in the picture, you make a triangle and stick them using sticking tape. But be careful that the reflecting surface should be inwards. Take a white paper of the triangular shape and fix it with the tape at one end of the mirror, closing that end. So like this, you close it. So insert 4 to 5 colored glass pieces in the hollow of the mirror. Broken pieces or some colored articles like this that you can put it over there. Close the other end, so with the paper. So you can close it like this, secure it so that they will not fall down. Close the other end also with the paper. Close it but make a hole in it. Look through the hole towards a light. So focus it towards the light and look through the hole. So you will see very fascinating designs in it. This instrument is called as kaleidoscope. You can see different designs in the kaleidoscope. The speciality is that the designs do not repeat themselves. Every time you turn, you see a new design. So the people make use of this and for making especially wallpapers and for decoration and for cloth design. So they use kaleidoscope for making new designs with new color combinations. Interesting, isn't it children? Are you ready to make one more? Yes, we are going to make one more thing. What is it? I will tell you. Take a cardboard box. So you can see it is like a milk carton or a juice one. You can take like this. Make slits at the top and bottom side of the box and place 2 mirrors so that make an angle of 45 degree. So you see, you are inserting mirror in this and you can see an opening here and here on the either side. Now fix the mirrors with the sticking tape. Make 2 windows. So these 2 are the windows of 1 inch each near the 2 mirrors. Be careful on which place you are making. Here the reflecting surface should be facing the window you are making. So now see through the bottom window. You will be seeing the things on the other side of the curtain. Children, this instrument is called as periscope. Do you remember this setup? Have you seen it anywhere? You would have seen in many movies, children. This is used in submarines to see the object above the surface of the water. You can see this is the periscope. So people in the submarine will use this to see the things above the water. It is also used to observe and keep watch on objects of the person when they are in observing something from an underground bunker also. So both this kaleidoscope and periscope, they both use the properties of reflection of light. So interesting and fun, isn't it, children? Shall we summarize the points of this chapter? Vision occurs when light is processed by the eye and interpreted by the brain. When light falls on an object, their direction changes and they turn back. This is called as reflection of light. The rays falling on any surface are called as incident rays. The point at which an incident ray falls is called as the point of incidence. The rays going away from the surface after reflection are called as reflected rays. About laws of reflection. The angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. The incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal lie in the same plane. The incident ray and the reflected ray are on the opposite sides of the normal. The reflection of light from a plane and smooth surface is called as regular reflection of light. The reflection of light from a rough surface is called as irregular reflection of light. Both regular and irregular reflection follow the laws of reflection. Kaleidoscope is an instrument which uses reflection of light to produce various images. So people making wallpapers and to decorate walls and cloth designers, they use kaleidoscope for making new designs. Periscope is used in submarines to see objects above the surface of water. Kaleidoscope and periscope, they use the properties of reflection of light. Hope you have enjoyed this chapter, children. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.